Hey guys, so now we're going to move on to Unit 14 and talk about how we give permission in English or ask for permission. So this unit is pretty straightforward. There are just a few key points I want to go over. So, like the book tells us, we use can, could, and may to ask for permission. And all three of these are pretty much the same. The only difference is can is less formal, may is more formal, and could is kind of in the middle there. But for most cases, if you can use one of these, you can use any of them. Some notes: we often use please when we're giving permission. Um, could, it often refers to a present or future, but we won't use could to refer to the past in asking for permission. And then the final thing we have is do you mind if? So remember, that's just a way, if you think something might inconvenience or annoy somebody, it's a little bit more of a polite way. So if you think they might be annoyed by what you're asking them to do, it's more polite to use do you mind if. So let's take a look at the review sheets I sent you. Again, I think the best way to do it is you do exercise 1, then watch me go through it on the video. Then pause the video, move on to the next exercise. But again, it's whatever works best for you. So this is a much shorter review, so we should be able to get through it all in one video. But if I see anything that looks kind of tricky, I'll make sure to go over why it is that way. So in exercise 1, we want to match the questions and responses. So 1, do you mind if I bring my friends to class? So the answer would be D, sorry, it's already pretty crowded. One thing I forgot to mention a second ago, with do you mind if, the answers change form a little bit. So if you're answering in the affirmative, giving permission, you would say, no, I don't mind. So it's kind of reversed from what it seems like it should be, but grammatically, that's the correct way. So do you mind if I bring my friends to class? If they have permission to do it, you would say, no, I don't mind. In this case, we're denying permission, and the book mentions we usually don't say just, yes, I do mind. It's more polite, more acceptable to say something like sorry and then give an excuse. So sorry, it's already pretty crowded, so you can't bring your friend to class. Number 2, may I ask a question? So the best answer here would be, sure, I hope I can answer it. So rather than yes or no, we often use sure as an affirmative. So sure, you can ask a question. Or yes, you may is another way of saying that. Okay. Number 3, do you mind if I record the class? So again, with do you mind, our answer sounds kind of reversed. So the best answer would be not at all. I think it's a good idea. So I do not mind if you record means yes, you can record. Could I open the window? Go right ahead. It's quite warm in here. Again, a less formal way to answer, go right ahead. Can we review Unit 4? I'm afraid we can't. We're out of time. Again, just being more polite, giving an excuse for why we can't. 6, may I leave the room? Certainly. The key to the restroom is hanging on the wall. So certainly is another way of saying yes, you may, or yes, you can. Could we use our dictionaries? So sure, you can, but remember, you don't have to look up every word. And then finally, number 8, could I borrow a pen? Best answer, sure, but please remember to return it. So again, we're saying yes, you can borrow it. Number 2, we have some questions. So this gives us the permission word to use, and we just want to fill in the rest. Again, remember, we're still using the base form of the verb here, so we just have to complete the sentence. So if you want to open the window, you might say, may I open the window? Your whole class wants to review Unit 6. So remember, just change your subject to match the subject in the first sentence. So could we review Unit 6? But still, just subject, we, review, verb stays in the base form. If you want to borrow a classmate's pen, you would just say, can I borrow a pen or your pen? You want to look at someone's class notes, so you'd say, do you mind if I look at your class notes? Again, we don't have to change the verb. You want to come late to the next class? So do you mind if I come late to the next class? And notice coming late to class is something that might annoy the teacher. So we use do you mind if to make it more polite. 6, your roommate wants to come to the next class with you. So they would say, in this case, you're probably asking the teacher if your roommate can come. So you would say, could my roommate come with me to the next class? You want to ask a question? Just, may I ask a question? You and your classmate would like to use a dictionary, so can we use a dictionary? You and your classmates want to leave 5 minutes early, so could we leave 5 minutes early? Your sister wants to go on the class trip with the rest of the class. So again, you're asking the teacher for permission and for your sister to come. So we'd say, do you mind if my sister comes on the, or goes on the class trip? Exercise 3, we just have a flyer here. And so we want to ask complete the statements. So you may bring a friend. Number 2, so food and beverages are welcome, so you can bring your own food. No glass containers, so food and beverages welcome. So you can bring your own drinks, you just can't bring them in glass. So for you can't drink juice from a glass bottle. So no glass containers, you don't have permission, so you can't do that. Bus tickets are $5, so you can pay for your bus ticket by check. So check or cash is allowed, so you can pay by check. You can pay for your bus ticket with cash, but you may not pay for your ticket with a credit card. Has to be check or cash. You may not purchase your bus ticket on the day of the trip because you can only purchase them in advance. There are no refunds, so you cannot get a refund. You can't get a refund. You may swim in the lake. Swimming in the lake is allowed. And then finally, we have some editing. So we'll go ahead and go through this together quickly. So I've been sick for the past 2 days. That's why I missed the last test. I'm really annoyed. I studied a lot for it and was really well prepared. May I take a makeup exam? So we want base form of the verb. So not taking, may I take a makeup exam? I know you never miss class, Tim, so I assumed that's what happened. I hope you're feeling better. Yes, you can take a makeup exam if you bring a doctor's note. If I can take the exam, may I use a calculator during the test? No, you may not. So this was one thing I haven't mentioned. With can and could, we use contractions. With may, we don't use contractions. So instead of mayn't, we spell it out, may not. It's against the guidelines we established at the beginning of the semester. Remember? Could my roommate, we want base form here, so could my roommate come to class and take notes for me on Thursday? Yes, he can. So remember, when we're giving answers about the future, we use can, not could. I hope you can read his handwriting. Do you mind, instead of when, we want do you mind if he records Allison's presentation for me? I don't want to miss it. And so he does have permission, so not at all. It's fine for him to record the presentation. One last thing. I know I missed some handouts. May I please have copies of them? So another thing we didn't talk about too much, when we're using please, we would say, may I please have, not have please. So we can use please either before the verb or at the end of the sentence. So we could also say, may I have copies of them, please. But between the subject and the verb, or at the end, not at the beginning of the sentence. Then sure, I'll give them to your roommate on Thursday. Thanks a lot. All right, so that's our review on asking for permission. It's pretty straightforward. We'll keep on going through these and move on into the next unit, do some review on that. For now, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm just an email away. And thanks a lot.